It's the FooRcast. I'm Gavin Ford.
Aki,
Double T.
We're talking about vocals.
where do we get them?
Vocally, vocals.
Where do we get them? How do we get them?
Where do we get them? How do we get them? What's the big idea?
You guys have always worked with vocalists and always had vocal-led tracks. But how did you, when you first started out, how did you go about getting those vocalists?
Went to open mic nights.
Yeah, we were lucky. We've been DJing for a long time, so we've met a lot of people over the years. We're lucky to have done that.
Yeah, met people at nights out.
Things like that, and obviously open mics. We found some great singers, so that's how we kind of started, wasn't it?
Yeah, Effie was from an open mic. Sammy Switch was a student here.
Yeah.
Friends of friends. And we were just going in the studio with people, and like Shania was a friend. Like, just, we were very lucky that so many people would just give us a chance when we weren't, or a lot of people were feeling what we were doing. So going in the studio. So we were just going in with friends, and we did a lot of remixes and bootlegs as well at the start. Where did you get your vocals from?
When I first started, I was on a uni course with a bunch of vocalists, but they were all sort of in bands and had their own sort of ideas of what they wanted to do. I think starting out, it can be a bit almost intimidating going up to a vocalist and trying to get a studio session. And so I used things like Splice and sites like that to get the royalty-free vocals. So a lot of my early tracks used them.
So we've never used Splice. Not that there's anything bad about it. Like, there's a Garage Shared Splice sample pack. Go check it out. Like, we're not against it, but we were listening to some records that got sent into the label 2 days ago, and one tune you said straight away, well, it's a really, really good record, but you called it straight away and said, this is a vocal I've heard before. We'd never heard it before.
Yeah, like, I think using a Splice sample, royalty-free vocal is fine until you hear someone else use it, and then obviously it loses its uniqueness. And because I've heard a lot of music from the labels and in the scene, once you hear vocals a couple times, you can't listen to the track and not be put off by it. So when we heard that track, as good as you two found it, I spent the rest of the time on Spotify trying to remember what the other tracks were that I knew with that vocal.
We'd never heard that vocal before, so
and it wasn't in the same genre, was it, in the end?
No, it was a garage submission, and the vocal, the track I knew the vocal from was a bassline track.
Well, I mean, I don't think there's actual written rules or thing, but because it's a different genre and a song that we hadn't heard before, I think we decided to take it. Well, to be honest, we've had records even from the same label in the same genre using the same Splice sample, but one person sent in a record and they said, this is called So Blind, and then someone sent in another record and exactly the same sample, but they heard it as Sublime. So it's exactly the same song, but two people I don't actually know what the right answer is to that either. I don't know what it is.
I've had the same issue with falling out and falling apart and not knowing which is which. And using those vocals isn't a bad thing. As we said, we've released them, and once you get one and it works really well on your track, if you do the best version with that vocal, then it becomes yours. Like Sammy Vergie's tracks are Splice vocals.
But yeah, so that's an example of you get the vocal and you do something unique and brilliant with it, and it becomes its own, and then no one else can do anything with it because someone's done something so brilliant. You go, well, that's a Vergie track, or that's a...
I feel Splice is very convenient. I mean, if you're just starting out and you're making music and stuff like that, you're making records and you want a vocal on it, like I say, it's difficult. You've got to go out and meet vocalists and stuff, where Splice, you can find a vocal instantly to go on your record. And I think that can help you with like your production going through. Definitely. Eventually you will meet singers and you will make originals.
And that's what's happened for me, like networking online at events, things like that.
Yeah.
Message 10 vocalists, none of them get back, so you message another 10 and one of them does, and that's how you start.
I mean, we've worked with vocalists for years. Sometimes they are difficult to get hold of.
Especially when you start. Yeah,
especially when you're starting. So I feel like Splice can be a good thing.
I think it's an amazing thing.
Yeah. And it's a great tool. I use it still for drums and presets and things like that. And workflow's so easy because you can just click and drag it from the website onto Ableton or Logic or whatever you're using.
Yeah, I mean, I messed around with it during lockdown and couldn't believe how like easy and good to use it was. But I don't think there's anything wrong with it. I don't think there's anything bad with it. And I don't even think, say, as a record label, we still take songs with vocal samples and we know they've been used before. But I think if someone uses it to a point where it's so good, then that's it. That's that sample. We would never sign anything. If someone used the Vergie sample, we'd never sign, because it'll be oh, this is a Virgie song. Someone does a good job, then it becomes theirs.
So he's made that, and he's kind of claimed that vocal, hasn't he? Really?
Yeah, that's the thing.
Even though people could still use it, there's no point.
They should retire it, shouldn't they? If someone does,
like football shirt,
like football shirts,
a legacy vocal.
They should do a big song.
It's that good. You got to retire it.
They should do a ceremony in Splice. Go, we're officially retiring this one because it's too good. No one else can use it.
I guess if you find like a Virgie vocal on Splice or something, that makes it easier if you want to bootleg one of his tracks.
Well, yeah.
Yeah, because if you were like a drum and bass producer, you just go and find it and then just do a drum and bass version of the Virgie track, but you could release it. You don't, but you could do a drum. Yeah, I mean, I don't know what you could surely just do a drum and bass version, but you don't suppose you have to call it something else and stuff.
But I'm saying say like if you found the vocal for If You Need It, instead of making an original drum and bass track called If You Need It, you could release it as a Sammy Virgie bootleg, and it would sound clean with the production. It'd probably end up doing better than if you released it.
But you could release it. You could release it normally. You're legally allowed to release it.
Yes.
You just couldn't call it. You couldn't call it Sammy Virgie If You Need It, but you could call it your thing If You Need It.
You could call it If You Need It, but spell you properly.
Yeah, well, you could call it exactly the same title. You just couldn't have the same artist name. Like I don't like the legality of it is like. Yeah. And I wonder what. I guess you wouldn't do it. You'd have to be a bit of a dick to do that.
Is there any way, say he's made that record big, is there any way they can claim the vocal and make it copyright it rather than?
Yeah, I think.
As in Virgie do that, or
I'm just saying, someone like a big artist like Virgie, he's released that record.
Who were the kids that did that drum and bass song last year? There was like the school kid,
of Irish people.
Oh yeah.
Because that's a YouTube beat,
right?
Yeah,
and then that went so big. I think when something goes so big and it's going to get signed, then the person who wrote it or created it can go, well, hang on, that's mine. And then the other people have to, there's something like that, because obviously if you Shazam it, it could be 100 different other records, and every time someone comes up, it's going to get flagged. So I think if it goes to a big point where it's so big, something happens legally where you don't have to take it down, but you might have to credit it, or publishing might go somewhere. Something happens I don't know. I'll try and find. I'll try and find out. But there's something happened, because I know something happened when those kids, when that beat went massive.
Yeah.
I know someone else local to us had a record on that same beat that was big, and something happened, but it didn't get taken down, because there's another artist from Southampton who had a song that was on FIFA, and it was a YouTube beat, and it went big, and he had 100 million streams, and something went wrong with that, and that song was gone.
That's tough.
And that was his biggest one, and I don't know, and it's probably thing, but that's the problem with YouTube and Splice Beats, is there's always an ownership thing, and it's never truly yours, and the legality of thing, because it's money at the end of the day. If someone's got 100 million streams and you had something to do with it, it's hard to sit back and go, because there's that artist Ren as well, the big. He had a beat, a song went massive, and then the guy tried to change. Somewhere on YouTube, it's actually a good thing to look for. There's Ren, and he explains the legality. He put it up on his YouTube properly, but it's come down. But I'm sure you can find it. And they explain he explained the back and forth. But again, something goes big, and you've done this thing, which is because if you do beats and you lease them, or people can buy them, it's meant for what. No one ever. I don't think when it started, everyone had thought that, okay, we need to think about what happens if it goes big. Because also there's the Abby Flynn, who's just done the song with Nathan Dorr. We've done brilliant vocalist. She did a Splice sample pack, and there was 3 or 4 songs that went massive off it. I can't remember. Is it Navos?
I don't know.
But
it was Navos, wasn't it? Navos.
Yeah, you'd know the song if you heard. There was 2 or 3 songs in a row went massive. And we did the studio over. She didn't get any. No. She didn't get anything for it.
No, she didn't.
Well, we were in the studio last week recording vocals with someone who did a Splice sample pack, and they get paid an amount up front, and I think then they get something ridiculous, 1% or something.
Yeah.
Well, yeah. So
but that'd be 1% of how many times the sample's bought, not 1% of what it sells if it goes out to thing to. But I think
if Sammy Virgie was the only person who bought that one. They
get 1% of it.
1% of that, and then anything else.
So Splice it's got its advantages and maybe some disadvantages.
Yeah. But then I wonder if that sample's gone big, because Virgie do lots of up and coming producers get that sample because they know it, or is it like us where we go, we can't touch that? So I wonder if it going big, does that make the sales go up or go down? Or we don't know. There's complete.
Yeah, we'd just be guessing.
We'd just be guessing, but that's the thing, because obviously, if I was just starting like 20 years ago, however long ago it was, the first thing, and I heard a vocal, I had access to a vocal of a tune I loved, I would download it and try and make my own version of it.
Yeah.
So maybe it does. Maybe there is something in it.
Yeah, there may be.
Going back, because if I didn't have Splice for those vocals, and now I'm lucky that I can work with vocalists, I think the thing I did before was just like look for acapellas online
Bootlegs,
of like tracks that already exist and make bootlegs and things like that.
Well, we started off, apart from the vocal, we did bootlegs. But now, obviously, there's you can separate everything. You can get the acapella of everything. But back then, we used to have to look.
Yeah, we were lucky to find an acapella of like.
Or we'd get our friends to re-sing samples if we couldn't get them. If we couldn't find it, we get people to re-sing it.
Yeah, we want to do that. We have to get it re-sung. But there's a few we did, when we got re-sung. I think Aaron done a few of the garage ones, wasn't it?
We did Outcast, The Way You Move, but that never come out.
And some of the old garage.
I'm
ones.
Sorry was obviously our first one.
What You Want.
What You Want was a boot. Yeah, we did that.
Yeah. But obviously now they're much easier. You can get any bootleg. You can get pretty much any acapella now, can't you?
Yeah, you can get
isn't it?
Yeah, and I would be well. To be honest, I think we're going to go back and look at loads of records that have always wanted to do bootlegs of. But
we started doing bootlegs, and we started using them in our DJ sets, and I think that helped us, didn't it, in a certain way of getting recognised in a certain way.
I think the difference, the thing with, as Aki says, is a good point. We were making stuff to DJ out. And at the time, I was doing student nights. So if a record was big in a student night, but we couldn't play it in a FooR set, we'd do things like Stormzy Shut Up was one, Skepta, That's Not Me was one, Skepta Shutdown was one. That's obviously very telling of the era that we were coming up.
Yeah.
But now, I think bootlegs are done for content. As much as they are for gigs, if not more. So you think this is going to go...
The bootleg scene right now is just huge.
Yeah, it's the biggest it's ever been.
We probably get as many bootlegs sent to our.
We put our bootleg out every week, don't we? On our shared.
And we could do more.
We could do more
easily. Yeah.
We now only do bootlegs for the artists who release originals. Really.
But I feel like bootlegs. People doing bootlegs now is a good way of putting yourself in the shop window. Like I would say, Efan done some. He done one with Dizzy Rascal. Was it?
Yeah.
Skanking Bass, whatever. And now he's actually done an original
with Dizzy Rascal.
So it can be a huge benefit to get your foot in the door.
Yeah, we done our own. We did Reese, Where Have You Been? The Rihanna bootleg through our thing, which did 500,000 on SoundCloud, and then got signed, and is now played.
Capital, isn't it, and stuff like
that. It got a major deal. It's on Capital. It's on Capital playlist. It's in Beatport Top 10.
Radio 1 are playing it.
That's just because he's just done a really, really good bootleg, and then obviously putting it out. DJs got behind it. We got behind it with the promotion. Got it to 500,000. Did the same Banquet, Murder on the Dance Floor at the time when that movie Saltburn.
Yeah.
Saltburn was out.
That was a good one because there were a lot of people who jumped on bootlegging Murder on the Dance Floor as soon as it came out, and I think Banquet he got got it right.
Yeah, he did the best. He did the best one, and then it was like, I think that's the other thing with bootleg. There's things like you say, there's very much stuff at the time when a song like that comes up, and then you go, right, everyone does it, and I think if someone does it and they smash it, you just got to step back because there was loads of people doing it after, and I just thought, he's done the best bootleg. You don't need not being biased because it was on.
So obviously we talk about at the minute. All it seems is you can get benefit. It's all benefits from bootlegs. Is there any negatives? What's the negative of a bootleg, or what can be a negatives?
I guess you can there's always a chance you piss off the original artist.
There is that.
Yeah, you can get SoundCloud
strikes.
You can get SoundCloud, but I think it changed our musical direct. We did Everybody's Free bootleg, and we did Rhythm of the Night bootleg, and they got so big within DJs playing it in a scene that we weren't in.
Yeah. I
very much saw us as garage producers. Everybody's Free. We were playing out the same time we were promoting Free Words.
Yeah.
Just after Pure Garage. Between Pure Garage and Free Words, we did Everybody's Free, which was like a bassline thing. But I didn't actually know we didn't think, we're making bassline. We just thought this is what was playing in clubs. This is what was going to work at a club. This drop would work.
Yeah, and festivals we're doing, we need something for festivals, don't we? It's kind of made for festivals, stuff like that. So
there wasn't a very garage scene for playing out. No. So it was like we're playing out, and it was just, this is what was working. And those bootlegs were so big that I think we were think, oh, you're a bassline act, because that's the music. Yeah. Even though like 3 Words was streaming, like it was on Radio 1 and streaming millions, the records that weren't out were like the ones that people going, and we were getting booked off the back of those bootlegs, and we even released an original. I can remember we didn't know what to do with Rhythm of the Night because obviously it was a sample, so we didn't know. And I remember we released an original EP called which had a tune called Take It Higher on, which again was played by Holy Goof and Skepsis and thing, and was like a big. But that was us following that sound. And we released Take It Higher, and everyone just said, "Where's Rhythm of the Night? Release Rhythm of the Night. Release Rhythm of the Night. Release Rhythm." Like we couldn't release original music because people wanted this bootleg.
So that is kind of a little bit of a negative at the time, where we couldn't actually release our own music because everyone wanted the bootlegs.
Yeah, it was a massive negative. I remember feeling like,
like
what are we going to do? Because we did a whole EP, and that was the first single. I was like, oh, we're going to do another. We're going to get more of this. And we did, and also we didn't know what we're going to do with this thing.
No,
because
I feel like in the position we were there, that was a negative. But I think if you're starting off, I think bootlegs are a good way into the,
especially now with download gates and that. We get all of our new artists to get on the bootlegs as much and take as much care of them as they do of their original stuff.
I think if you're doing consistently good bootlegs in your sound, so you're not just jumping thing like that at the moment. If you look at Lockers on Garage Shed, who's a new artist, ones to watch. He's doing bootlegs which sound like his originals. Where you do a gate which pushes to the original, you'll just start to think that Lockers is a great producer, and then you think, I'm going to listen to these originals. I'm going to listen to this thing. That Banquet did a lot of dubs their first year we did, in a very much the style with their originals, and you think they're a great producer. I think that's how you do it.
Yeah.
I think if you just do bootleg, and no originals, or you're doing bootlegs that to work at a club, but your originals sound absolutely nothing like it, it's pointless.
Yeah.
So I think there is a thing, but when you think about it, like say bassline. So we did Rhythm of the Night, Everybody's Free, which are big records, and we got bookings. Zero did
Enter the Dragon,
Bonkers.
Yeah.
Holy Goof did Drake. Darksea did In for the Kill and a Drake one. One Dance, was it?
Yeah, One Dance.
Yeah, One Dance.
So they did the thing, right? But Zero and Skepsis never did them. And you'd argue that Notion and Skepsis never did them. Yeah. And you'd argue that Notion and Skepsis have gone on to do the best. Skepsis, they both did them, but they weren't like big releases that come out and made a big deal of them like we made a big deal of them. They were like, Notion had a few didn't come out. Skepsis had a few that come out. That Afterglow one, which we still play. It become an original with Window Kid.
But yeah, I feel like it's a bit of a negative to us because everyone just kept asking us for those songs where we, as a group, like to make original songs with original singers, and it was kind of clouding that because everyone was asking for these
and we wanted to make originals that were completely different genre as well.
And it kind of like I didn't say it screwed us because it worked well in the thingy.
It didn't feel like a negative at the time.
No, it didn't.
And I if I went back in time, I wouldn't change anything because we got to play Ushuaia and Amnesia and all
got
this,
some incredible bookings,
like Creamfields. We did some amazing stuff for but I just think like if looking back at what we do, like what
creatively,
we did,
like it's not really like we like to work with.
Yeah, like thing, and then like. There's like a VIP culture. I remember they like, oh, we want a VIP of this.
VVIP.
And our VVIPs, and it's like, we don't even like the original record. Like, why do we want to do different versions of this song?
But rounding up, I feel like bootlegs are...
if you do them in your own style and you play them in your own sets and you're doing your own thing.
Keep them in your own style, I think. Put your sound to a popular vocal is a good thing to do.
And the best thing about those Rhythm of the Night ones and that, through the butterfly effect, that's how you got me on board.
See, lots of negatives about these
that's
bootlegs.
A big negative.
Why was that?
Because I knew you as baseline guys, so I was coming to the baseline raves, and that's how I met you.
See, I think everyone,
that's
our point proven there, isn't it?
Biggest negative.
We wasn't really a baseline act, but everyone knew us.
Yeah, but people think like
so. Yeah,
and I can remember like we were going for, like for people. I remember there were certain gigs we weren't getting because they said, "Oh, you're a baseline act."
Yeah, and
I remember thinking, I don't think we are.
But then we got a bit confused because we,
but maybe
we were doing bassline gigs, then we were doing like garage ones. We kind of, what do we play? Because do people want to hear Rhythm of the Night in? But we started garage shit because we were garage artists, and we started our garage labels to push other garage artists. And I remember we would sign the other garage artists, and they go, yeah, and they wouldn't realise that we made garage. They go, oh yeah, I like Black Bandana, and I'm like, oh yeah, cool. What about like the garage records you made? Oh, you make garage, and I was like, oh well, we start. Yeah, and obviously, I love Black Bandana like that. There are records on that period that we made that I love, but like
black bandana.
And then there's people now
Yeah.
who I speak to who go on our Spotify and go, I love your music. I didn't realise you made this kind of stuff. You know, like we're like, yeah, this is what we actually make.
Yeah.
But no, rounding up then.
Yeah,
Let's round it up because.
But also, making bootlegs is fun, so
Yeah,
you should have fun.
And hearing them out is fun as well.
And hearing them out is fun when you play them out.
Your
it's
own
fun.
versions of your favourite songs is fun, isn't it? You know,
You should and you should always have fun. But I just think like as a you know, as a business thing, and like with our record labels, we always say we've made mistakes, so we do the things to stop people making mistakes. And I think if we were to hear people doing these bootlegs and thinking, well, this sounds absolutely nothing like the originals, we would say, stop it. So I think, but if you're like, you know, playing, you've got this original stuff and then you're doing some fun stuff that sounds like you, and you go, oh, this sounds like a Lockers version of Funky Town, then crack on. Yeah.
Wicked.
Yeah, let us know if you agree, disagree. What's your favourite bootlegs of all time?
Or send some of your bootlegs in for us to listen to. Like
Are FooR a baseline act?
What are we?
Go back to
What do you identify us?
What?
That's a whole nother podcast.
Let us know. Wallop.